Nobody's coming to hand you your dream job. I hate to say it, but if that's what you're waiting for to get ahead, to get to where you want, to get the things that you always dreamed of when you were a little kid, the boat, the house, be able to support your family without stressing out, you can't count on anybody for that. There's one bet you can make, though. There's one bet. And you know what it is? You can bet on yourself. I've been through this, and I understand life isn't easy. You work hard, maybe you went to school, you're trying to work your way up the corporate ladder, you hate your job, you have to go in 9 to 5 every day, you got an hour, half an hour, hour and a half commute, your day's done. I had a full-time job. I got laid off in January of this year, and it was the first time I ever had a corporate job, and I'll tell you, I hated it. I've worked either bartending or in my own business for my entire life. I worked in restaurants when I was younger. About 33 years old, 34 years old is where my first business that started having success took off to the point where I was able to quit my job, and I spent about a decade where I was completely self-employed. I was working 30 hours a week, busting my butt during those 20 or 30 hours, but I was golfing multiple times a week. I was living the life. It was life on a budget, but I was so happy. And then when I had to go get a job, it just ended. Yes, I was making more money. That's why I went to go get a job, because things were just getting a little bit too tight with inflation and everything that was going on. I wasn't able to get by on the money that I was making anymore. But it really fired me up. And it let me know, I have to keep working. I have to keep figuring this out. I know I'm going to start the next business that's going to take it to the next level. And that's what I've been doing my entire life. Even when I was in the restaurants, when I was a bartender back in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, I had probably 2, 3, 4, 5 cooks over the years that were cooks and waiters and other bartenders that were like me. They were entrepreneurial minded. Maybe some people would call us entrepreneurs. Some people would call us dreamers. Some people would call us losers. I don't know. But we are always spitballing different ideas. We could try to do this. We could try to do that. We could try to do this. And we were just trying to come up with ideas of something that would work. And by the time I was 26, and I understand based on my YouTube analytics that most of my viewers are like 25 to like 35 years old, the majority of you. There's some of you that are probably older, that are maybe closer to my age. I'm 45, so maybe you're 40. But this video is really especially for the people that are 25, 26, 28, 30. And you guys, this is when I started my first business. This is when I went out and said, all right, I'm going to start a golf company. This was our idea. We wanted to start a golf membership company. Me and my buddy decided to start doing it together. He was really smart. He understood finance very well and numbers and all that. And we both had a huge passion for golf. So we were going to put together this company, and we were going to sell package memberships like the ski passes up north, where you can group together 4 courses all together and pay one membership price. And then we had a whole scheme where we were going to pay out the courses based off play and everything. And it was really cool, but it ended up not working because the courses ended up not needing more members. They were all full. So in theory, everything was great. Yes, the funding, the numbers were right. We would have been able to pay the courses. It would have made up for the cost of these people playing. And anyways, long story short, great idea. 26, 27 years old. That's when I did that. Didn't work. We started the LLC. Everything didn't work. We scrapped it. Then I started another business. I tried to do something else with a different buddy. And then right around 31, 32 years old is when network marketing came to me. That's when I started my first business that actually had success. Some of you might say, oh, well, how successful were you with network marketing? I wasn't somebody who's making over $100,000 a year, but I made enough over the course of my career, which I still have that business and I still run it on the back end. But I made enough where I was able to quit my job after about a year and a half in the business. And in terms of the industry, I was probably in the top 5%, maybe 3% of the industry of earners. The top 0.05% is really where I wanted to be. Those people make, $50,000 a month, $70,000, $100,000 a month. They make absolutely massive money. And a lot of my friends in our company, because I had made it to the level where I was, connecting with all of them. I was running the events for all of New England. They were making that money, and I saw it. And I saw the potential, and that business was great. But I learned so much there, and I just kept betting on myself. I kept betting on myself and saying, what can I learn from this industry? I learned how to sell, and I learned how to coach, and I learned how to mentor, and I learned how to present in public speaking. I'd done the biggest public speaking event that I ran, that I was the MC. It was like 250 people, which is a lot. And the biggest fear of most people in the world isn't the fear of death. It's the fear of public speaking. So, I was doing something that most people were terrified to do. People would never do. And not only was I doing it, but I was teaching random people that didn't have any experience in this, massage therapists, carpenters, all kinds of whatever kind of trade you can think of. I was teaching them how to become public speakers. I was teaching them how to bet on themselves and grow this business. And I had a lot of people, I still do have a lot of people in that company that made a ton of money. And it's awesome. But the skill set that I learned from that, it started teaching me about personal branding. It started teaching me about marketing. It started teaching me, like I said, more about sales. And I started putting all those experiences together and all that knowledge together. And that's where I started a marketing agency. That marketing agency led to one thing, and I ended up doing some websites for a few different companies and consulting essentially for them. And we weren't making a lot of money, but I got a connection. I got an in with a startup. And that one situation is what's led me here to today, where we're about to get our first round of funding. And it's because I keep betting on myself, and I keep betting on myself. And that's what I'm telling you. If you're 25 years old, if you're 30 years old, you might not know what this big idea is that you're going to have that's going to help you make it. It's going to help you have the dream house and the boat and being able to have a golf membership. And maybe, I'm not even talking like $1 million a year. My dog's chewing on stuff, but I'm not talking about making that kind of money. I'm talking about how much can you make and live the life of your dreams. Maddie. Enough. You can't do that right now. So let's get back to this, and we're going to wrap this up. I don't want to drone on this, but the number one bet you can make today is betting on yourself. The U.S. economy is changing at a rapid rate of speed. Some people are going to say, oh, it's going down, inflation, blah, 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 all these things. Oh, Trump's going to kill it. And then there's other people that are saying, I'm betting on this. I'm betting on them hopefully getting rid of income taxes and the IRS and the Fed. There's all these different conspiracies, right, that are out there of things that could be absolutely massive. The tariffs, what they're doing to bring in income for this company. There's so many opportunities, whether you think this stuff is good or whether you think this stuff is bad, that could make you, it puts you in a position right now where you want to go. You want to try to come up with ideas and start businesses, and you can come up with all kinds of stuff. There's YouTube. There's people making $10,000, $100,000 a month making videos on TikTok. Dude, seriously, the opportunities that you have right now did not exist when I was a kid. When I was 25 years old, Facebook hadn't even started yet. Madeline, enough. So you have this huge opportunity right now. Dogs. You have this huge opportunity right now, and I just want you to capitalize on it. I want you to bet on yourself. That's what I've been doing my whole life, and everybody tells me that I'm stupid and I'm crazy and just go get a job. When are you going to get a real job? My family says it. My grandfather said, when are you going to get a real job? All these people telling me, just go get a real job. I'm like, no, I'm going to figure out something that is going to take me to a level a job will never be able to bring me to. Because not only do I want to have enough money to be able, I'm not saying, like I said, I'd love to have $1 million in the bank. I'd love to make $1 million a year. But what's most important to me is time freedom. I want to be able to go golfing 4 or 5 days a week. I want to be able to have a boat and go fishing 2 or 3 days a week. Maybe I'm not going to do all those, 7 days a week, but if I can go golfing or fishing and have that be 4 days a week, that's my dream. That is my dream life. And then to work on fill in the nooks and crannies with hard work and get stuff done and create a legacy, that's the dream life. And you'll never get there if you don't start betting on yourself now and taking the risk and trying to start a business. It's never going to happen. So let's cut the video there. I'm going to be starting a Skool community starting probably today. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to put that together. And for the foreseeable future, at least the next 3 months, it is going to be completely free. I'm going to be able to get in there. And the thing that I love more than anything, and what I really got from my network marketing experience, is I love building community. I love being able to talk to people that are watching my videos, talk to people that are in my business, all this stuff. I love helping people. That is the thing that I am the most passionate about in the world. So if you're watching this video and you want to join the community, it's free. If you get in right now, you don't have to pay anything. I'm going to figure out, courses and stuff like that going down the road. But I just want to be able to connect with you guys. So I'm going to pay the money for Skool, and you guys can come join it for free. And I'm going to do obviously I'm going to be on there. I'm going to be posting, but I'm going to be putting out some Zoom meetings or whatever platform we end up having it on, so we can all get on together and talk. And even if there's only 10 of us, we can powwow. When it's a small group like this, that's when it's the most fun, is when you have small groups of people, because you can actually ask me questions. I can actually ask you questions. If you're doing YouTube stuff, I can see what you're doing. You can see what I'm doing. We can put all these ideas together, and that's where they get really good. And you take all these ideas and you mash them up into a great idea. So we're going to do that together. There's going to be a link in the description for that. But I'm glad you guys are here. Now is the time. Now is the time to bet on yourself. Go out there, bust your butt, and get it done. I know you can do it. You just have to keep trying. The failures are just learning experiences. So welcome them, embrace them, and then get on to the next thing. I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm going to be back now that I'm finally down in South Carolina. The big move was last week and a half. I'm all settled-ish in. But I'm going to be back on Monday, Wednesday, Friday with videos. So if you're interested in that, subscribe so you can make sure you get the notification of the new videos coming out. Make sure you like it. If this is something that resonates with you, make sure you share it with a friend, because now is the time to get together with your friends and take over and change your lives. I'll see you guys on the next video. We'll be back Friday. I hope you have a great day. Go take a risk. Bet on yourself.